was LeBron's buzzer beater, an all-time great shot.
Oh, perhaps we started this show a little early and you could hear my father say it ruined my weekend. What he was talking about was this shot right here, which he will not stop calling lucky. That's full court. You have to trap him. He's the one guy that you cannot allow to do that. But in game one, I remind you, in regulation, LeBron had an easy look at the basket with 0.6 seconds left, and he just missed it. I don't know if this goes in the pantheon. I do know that LeBron, because he's playing against ghosts, because he has no peers, look at what Kevin Durant had to do to beat him, because he is playing for legacy, he needs memorable shots, and that's one of them.
I mean, when are we going to start giving him credit for doing that? I mean, he's done it to win a championship. He essentially pulled up for a jumper against the Spurs in a Game 7 to win a championship. Does he need to do it in a Game 6 in Utah with a push-off of Brian Russell? Is that how it has to happen before we actually start giving him credit here? Because that was spectacular. And if you just look at when he decided to go right to left, basically one step in, he knew he was going to shoot a one-legged floater off glass, and he hit it. It's ridiculous. And he is the singular reason, Dan, why they're not out in the first round down 1-2 in this series. He's the difference, and so you have to give him credit, not really blame anything else.
How frustrating is this if you're the Raptors? You've built your entire blueprint. You've gone through missing piece of Ibaka, P.J. Tucker. Now your bench was going to bring it. Dwayne Casey was going to be coach of the year. And the worst LeBron team we've seen put together 6 minutes ago just dusted you with him winning it at the end.
He got lucky in that shot. He misses that shot 99 times out of 100.
That's right.
This is the time he made this shot. Come on, man. Let you give credit to whoever, where credit is due. The guy just got lucky, that's all.
Who should we give the credit to?
See.
That's it. The guy who was guarding him did the best he could to prevent that
Let's
shot
give
from
credit
happening.
to the guy who was guarding him.
I'm sorry, there's glass behind the basket. It accidentally bounced off of it and into the rim. I'm sorry.
Let's give credit to the
That shot
defender.
is not supposed to go in.
I
It's not
know.
no back shot. He hit the backboard there and went in from an angle. Are you kidding me?
Perhaps he's the greatest player of all time.
He just got lucky. Come on.
My father has actual skill.
You do it 10 times again,
Okay.
and then I'll
All
believe
right,
that you
I'll
can
do
do
it
it
10
again.
more
You
times.
once in a blue
10
moon,
more times.
I believe that it's luck. That's all. Does Ben Simmons deserve the blame for the 76ers choke job in Game 3?
Choke job, my father was predicting. He was holding his hand to his neck, as he loves to do when these situations arise. I don't know where else you're going to put a lot of this blame. He's 21 years old, and he showed it. Here at 81-81, you got to make that, obviously. That probably goes without saying. And then here at the end of the game, you're up one. Great rebound. Don't do that. Don't. And then there's this with 5.5 seconds left. Ugh. Woof, woof. And as history has shown us, you do not win in the playoffs unless you have also lost in the playoffs. Teams do not advance unless they learn how to win. I hate it as an athletic cliche, but you aren't going to find a lot of precedents for someone Ben Simmons' age having done no playoff winning and then all of a sudden getting to the finals.
Yeah, it's really hard to place the blame on the guy who's primarily responsible for getting you this far, because they obviously didn't have Joel Embiid toward the end of the season or for parts of that first round. So, yeah, it's really hard to place the blame on him. But when you look at this, it sort of resets the expectations for the 76ers. Were they championship ready this year? Probably not. Were they even finals ready this year? Probably not. And Ben Simmons needs to fix some things. But in terms of just mistakes like this, I mean, we've seen boneheaded mistakes from guys like Chris Paul, who was one of the greatest point guards of all
You
time.
can have the boneheaded mistakes. The issue is, though, we all thought Philadelphia was going to beat Boston. We're all looking at both of those rosters next to each other and saying, Boston's not better than this Philadelphia team. And then when you're up one, show that again. When you are up one with 20 seconds left, the guy who's the leader of your team, the guy who holds the ball more than anybody, the guy with the usage rate has to know game situation there. And given how bad he is at his free throws, you wouldn't be surprised at all if he put that up because he didn't want to get grabbed. He didn't want to start dribbling around. It's a fair question to ask given his past.
Well, there is someone in Philadelphia that choked more than Ben Simmons.
Who?
The confetti guy.
That guy did choke.
Totally forgot about that.
I forgot about this. That's Marco Bellinelli.
Hey!
Ties it, does not win it, ties
More
it.
basketball. Let's
Confetti.
celebrate.
And the coach of the Sixers actually thought they won. He walked off the court. That's a thing that happened.
I mean, I would not be surprised if the NBA rules out confetti forever. Yeah. Before the Toronto Raptors, they had to bring down the scoreboard and sweep out all the confetti from that thing because in Game 1, it was falling all over the floor. It's more of a problem. The fans don't really care about it.
Nobody's ever been this angry about confetti. It's weird.
Who is sitting prettier? The Warriors or the Rockets?
They are both up 3-1. We knew this was going to happen. We knew this was going to end in Rockets and Warriors. Those series aren't interesting. Those two teams they're playing against have no real chance. So the answer to this question ends up becoming the Golden State Warriors are sitting prettier because they have no fear. They have won. They have done this before. They are healthier than they've been, and they've been better than the Houston Rockets throughout the last several seasons. The Rockets' offensive rating is something that's formidable. Thank God they've created some doubt, so we know this isn't going to be a steamroll, but you always have to favor the Warriors.
Well, because Chris Paul and James Harden haven't done it yet, Chris Paul hasn't even gotten out of this round yet, we look for signs for why the Rockets might not be able to do it. You saw Chris Paul and James Harden arguing on the bench during a win the other day. You saw them only score 100 points in a win, and they're supposed to be this, juggernaut offense. But really, the answer is the Warriors because this. Like, how lucky do you have to be Steve Kerr and say, all right, it's the second round of the playoffs. We need to ramp this up. I'm going to go with a lineup that I've never gone with before, my 5 best players, and it's going to dominate. And we're going to call it the Hamptons lineup because, man, that looks so easy and it's just so much fun. And, yeah, I'm just going to sit here and watch that happen. I mean, the Warriors are just ridiculous, and we're just starting to recognize that they're healthy now, and they're going to show how ridiculous they are.
I'm with Steve Kerr, though. Hamptons 5, awful nickname. Nobody should repeat it. It shouldn't be repeated by Steve Kerr or anyone else.
The Warriors, they should never be confident about the 3-1 lead.
We've all seen that movie.
I've seen that movie before, that's right.
Oh, he meant to emphasize that. When you get 2 poking fingers, that's when he's... Oh! Well, he just ramped it up.
How will you remember the Stan Van era in Detroit?
Stan Van Gundy out in Detroit. The owner, he had a very good relationship with him, was willing to have him back with reduced power. But Stan Van Gundy says, no, mutually agreed upon, I'm leaving here. I won't do it without the power. And you've got, in 4 years, 1 playoff appearance, no playoff victories. That's got to be a failure. It's hard to get players in Detroit, and the league changed. He was going there for Andre Drummond, and the entire league changed around him. Harder still when you consider that Golden State job may have been for him if he had gotten along with ownership there. They chose Steve Kerr, but he never seriously considered Golden State, even though that would have been a job that would keep him in the league now, even if he hadn't had the power of president the way he did in Detroit.
To me, it just speaks of how difficult this is. Stan is a good basketball mind. Stan is a respected man within the sport. But to swoop in a mid-market team that has some tradition, to expect him to sort of recover the magic in Detroit all of a sudden, well, it's going to be very difficult. So they tried. They had 1 playoff run, tore it down, bring back Blake Griffin. Didn't get there again. It kind of feels like he got the college run, 4 years, and you're out. And I totally understand that. It's really difficult. The expectations are too high, but it doesn't really mean Stan is done. Stan could be done if he wants to be, but it's hard to judge him based on that particular project.
I hope he is done forever, and I say that as his friend because that job makes him so very miserable, especially when you're losing. He had all of the power. He didn't seem to be having any fun at all. There's going to be some relief in this.
I will remember the Stan Van era this way.
What way?
There you have it.
Oh, that's right. That's hard. Those were better days. Parental advisory right there. That is something he was doing for charity. That is probably the most memorable thing that happened while he was in Detroit. I say that as his friend. It's still funny.
Would love to know what he was thinking about in that picture.
Is Big Ben being petty by ignoring Mason Rudolph?
I love this story so much. Last we checked in with Big Ben, he was like, oh, my body hurts. I'm tired. I don't know if I'm going to play anymore. Then they draft this guy. He's like, I want to be in that seat for the next 45 years straight. Let's listen to Ben Roethlisberger now on 97.3 The Fan.
I was surprised when they took a quarterback because I thought that maybe in the 3rd round, you can get some really good football players that can help this team now. And nothing against Mason. I think he's a great football player. I don't know him personally, but I'm sure he's a great kid. I just don't know how, backing up or being the 3rd round, who knows where he's going to fall in the depth chart, but helps us win now. But, that's not my decision to make. That's on the coaches and the GM and owner and those kind of things. So if they feel like he can help our team, so be it. But I was a little surprised.
I got that wrong. I'm sorry. I said 97.3 like a polished television broadcaster. It's 93.7, so I totally reversed those numbers. Ben Roethlisberger reversed course on this entirely in a way that, of course, is petty, but you probably wouldn't want to train your replacement either. And I say it's different in football than it is everywhere else. If you were training an intern, that intern's not taking your job in 6 games if you're hurt. Tom Brady got that job and that position because Drew Bledsoe's lungs filled with blood. Otherwise, Tom Brady might not have gotten gotten that shot. That's how it happens in Ben Roethlisberger. I understand why he now wants to protect his position, even if it is obviously petty.
It is funny to think about if these veteran quarterbacks sitting at home watching the draft and saying, man, my team just drafted a quarterback. Let me change my schedule entirely. I have to add these training sessions for this rookie so that he can be better. No, it's just ridiculous. Like, you just go out there, you play your game, you try to be better. It motivates you or what have you. The funniest thing to me is how Big Ben is all of a sudden trying to become this Tom Brady, right? He's got the, what does he have, the Big Ben method? What is the Big Ben method? You know what? This is probably the Big Ben method. Just stand in the pocket and just let the rush come at you and don't worry about any of it. And that's what he's doing with this rookie. Just let this guy come at you. We have no idea if he's any good. It doesn't matter. I'm just going to throw him off, keep throwing 500-yard games, and I'm going to be fine. I'm Big Ben.
The problem with being Tom Brady at 40 is, does Ben Roethlisberger and facing body conjure someone who's taken care of themselves? Because I picture him getting motivated by Tom Brady and saying, you know what? I'm going to bring it down to light beer. Light beer this offseason is what I'm going to do, and I'm going to catch Brady, and I'm going to play till I'm 45.
It might work.
That's the reason I have it great. Nobody can replace me.
That's true. And I left here on Friday, and you've seen how much better the show was. He's so right about that. He can't leave. Who do we get when he leaves? Cam Awesome. We did that. That's a thing we did. International Olympic boxer Cam Awesome.
Coming up next on Highly Questionable.
That was
That's not a strike. Come on, Blue.
Get out of here.
Come on, Blue.
You're not drawing a line.
Oh!
My Son's TV show is brought to you by Taco Bell. Experience the power of the dollar with the new $1 triple melt burrito.
What makes